We are not representing any organization here, right? And whatever content we are presenting here, it is strictly for the learning purpose, right? We are not doing any promotions here. Yeah. So this is just a short introduction about me. So working as a MuleSoft practice head at a few dimensions. I'm MuleSoft ambassador and like TOGAF certified. I am also holding uh, 11 Salesforce certification. Okay, so that's a short introduction about me. I will not take time in the introduction part. So the agenda for today is, so we will see what is uh, IDP, intelligent document processing. What are the different use cases where we can use the IDP? What are the benefits of the IDP? And there are some limits, right? There are some quotas on the IDP. We will go into those also, and we will going through the data retention policies. Then like we will see some how to set up a document actions. So there are at least 6 to 7 demonstration. We will going to see, like, we will going to do the invoice processing. We will going to see how we can extract the information from the driver license, how we can extract the information from the patient documentation. So those are the 3 demonstration we will going to see in today's meetup. Any question? Eh, any question? So I will start with first question. Like, anybody have work on document processing? Anybody knows anything about the IDP, or like, or anybody is doing any project on IDP? Just make this session as an interactive, so he will also learn, right? And like, so I suggest everyone. Abhishek, you, Nitish, you are also allowed to talk. That's fine, right? So anyone?
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Sorry. Okay.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, I've worked with that IDP, and I've taken few session as well. So that is something very good what MuleSoft came up with, where in the platform you can have the IDP and do the things or stuffs in that, instead of going or take taking use of any other third party tool directly. But IDP is a good product what MuleSoft has come up with.
Yeah. So with IDP, you can like scan and extract the information from the PDF file from the image within less than minutes. Also, it depend on the size of the documentation, how many number of pages in the documentation. So it's completely depend on that. But you can extract your like, you can scan your PDF document. You can extract the information very quickly using IDP. It's very simple to use. The first, whatever interface provided by MuleSoft, it's very user friendly. It's very easy to scan your documentation, and you can see the result, like, so it extract the information and then it map all the information to some the fields in the schema. So we have like two documentation where invoice and the purchase order. For that, they have, MuleSoft has already have a, some like something like out of box schema. So they have already provided the schema for that, right? So and so whatever information it extract from the document, and it will map all those information to that fields in the schema. So we're going to see that in the live demonstration. Then also you can make use of the generative AI. So like, so IDP also have a capability of generative AI, where you can set up some questions. So for example, does my document contain this information? So you will get true or false answer. So you can say like what is the total cost in the invoice, or what is the total in the invoice, how much tax in the invoice. So those kind of question you can ask, and it will generate the answers for those things automatically, right? We're going to see in the action. Okay. So what is it, IDP? So as I mentioned, IDP is nothing. It's a intelligent document processing, which read or which extract the information from the purchase order, invoices, or any structure and unstructured or semi-structured documentation. Once it extract the information, right? So so my question is, how the IDP is extracting information? So IDP is using something called pre-trained AI models, basically, that is not known as a large language model, and it is using the capability called OCR, optical character recognition, to extract the information from the those document, those PDF files or those images, right? In the background, IDP is using AW text track capability. So there's a AWS provided something called text track, right? The text track generally what does it does, the text track is also like reading the PDF file images and extracting the data using AI and the ML model, and with with and using the OCR capability. Okay, OCR is nothing; it's optical character recognition. So previously, for reading the PDF file, so we are using the OCR, correct? So OCR for reading the PDF file. But now what IDP and TrackStack has done, they are combined with AI and ML model, large AI and ML pre-trained model, right? It can be chat gpt 4.0, correct? So they have just combined with that to extract the information basically from the document, so the accuracy rate is much higher, right, as compared to early, right? So that is what it does. So this IDP can easily integrate with any point platform. So whenever like you publish a document action or IDP document action into any point exchange, so it will provide the APIs. So those APIs can be used to integrate with any point platform. You can also integrate with your robotic process automation. You can also integrate with Salesforce flow. You can integrate with any point composer, or you can integrate with any external application because it provides the APIs. So for APIs for posting the documentation, APIs for retrieving the status of the documentation, right? So those are the APIs get published once you publish this document action into the any point exchange. Any question I can take if you have any question?
I think this Arvind, Jitin, this is Arvind. I think better example we can say the DG Yatra, right? Where nowadays someone is traveled actually, so where you can easily scan your face and your boarding pass and then skip the all the huddle in betweens, right? So
Correct.
that can be we can call the UCR as well, right?
Correct. So that is one of the example. But
Mhm.
here, like if I want to be more specific, right? So for
Mhm.
example, like generally, what happened. So I will give one of the example. So I get the invoice from some of the vendor, right? So I got the invoice in the PDF format, correct? And like generally, what operation people do? So they generally do the manual entry in the Excel sheet or in any other databases, right? But in case if I want to automate that process, so what I will do, so what I can do, I get the invoice, I have a fax machine, I can I can just scan that invoice and I can integrate that fax machine with some some API call basically. So as soon as like my PDF gets scanned, I can call the API. That API will send the PDF, to the IDP, MuleSoft IDP, Intelligent Document Processing, right? MuleSoft IDP will process that document. It will scan the document. It will extract the document and put all the information to the database or wherever you want, right? So that is one of the good example where you can make use of this IDP. Correct?
Yes, correct. You avoid your manual intervention
Yes. So
process.
you can
Right?
avoid the manual intervention. Like you are saving lot of time and cost here. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. The issue is when you have a document with the recognized data and with the confidence in 99%, and the information that was actually recognized and structured is completely wrong, and that's the biggest problem that I saw with the IDP so far. So you have the names that do not correspond to the name that is actually on the document, and you do not have a manual confirmation because the confidence level is 99%.
That is true, like because like it's depend on LLM, like how the LLM is trained, right? So depending on like large language model, sometime it can happen, you are correct, some information might be incorrectly mapped, right? So that can be happen. So what I will suggest, so I will tell you one of the thing, like so for example, so we are getting the invoice from XYZ vendor, right? So consider I'm getting the invoices from XYZ vendor, right? So like then what I can do, I can create one document action for that particular XYZ vendor, and I will scan that, I will extract the info, I will make sure like all the information coming from that particular invoice is correct, right? So second time the similar invoice is coming right from the same vendor, so we are at least confident like we will get the data correctly, right? For example, we are hiring some like we, or we have a other vendor called ABC. So right, for that we can create a different document action, right? And first during the testing we will use some different types of invoice from that. So I will assuming the whatever invoice coming from the ABC will be in the same format, right? I will just test it. I will make sure the confidence level is also good with all the corrected information. In that case, if the information is not corrected, so we can create a custom field basically, right? We can have a custom field, and we can give a instruction to our generative AI like I want to extract the field, this particular field in this particular way. That is also can be done.
Yes, yes, that's a very slick approach. Now let's consider the financial company that is actually processing the onboarding documents from people, and it's not actually repeatable. You have every different person, physical person that has their own approach and their own name. Oh, everything is different. It is not repeatable onboarding documents.
Okay. Yeah, you are correct. Yeah, so I will say it's not 100% correct always. You are so you are like I am 100% sure about that because it's a LLM, right? So our LLM is like large language model. It is improving as soon as like they keep on trained, right? So there might see it's all AI, right? There might be minor mistakes can happen. Some of the field may get populated wrongly also, but like in that case you can have some custom field, like you can tell like so this is how I want to extract the information. But you are right, sometime if the PDF come in some different way, right, what we will do. But like most of the time the most of the information is correct only, right? uh,
You're right, right. Jitendra, you are completely right. I wanted just to underline that in the case that is wrong, you do not have anyone to blame and to fire.
Correct. Yeah, thanks for bringing this. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, I will go to next slide. So there are four steps. So basically, we intake the documentation. So the documentation can be coming from any sources. So it can be coming via REST API call. It can like you can read the documentation from any other, like you can manually upload the documentation. It can be S3 storage, whatever, like So once document is uploaded, then it does. There's a a document action come into picture, which runs some AI ML model and OCR to extract the information from the documentation. Then finally data structuring, it will respond back in the JSON format. So it will create unstructured data or semi structured data or structured data into the structured format. Then once like we have done that, then we can have a integration and the action. So basically you can define the confidence level for threshold. For example, for this particular field confidence threshold is 80%, or for this particular field the confidence level is 70%. If the confidence level is below that, right, in that case the document will go for the manual approval. It will not process as a complete, right? It will go for the manual approval. Somebody has to go and check the verify the information, whatever the information has been populated by the document action or IDP is correct or not. If the confidence level is below the 80% or confidence level below is you can define that particular threshold, right? If you want the 100% threshold, that is also you can define. Okay, so IDP is nothing, as I keep on talking, it's a combination of optical character recognition and the artificial intelligence. So you get an unstructured document, you send it to IDP, and IDP will form a structured data in the JSON format, right? So we're going to see in the demonstration part. So what's the difference between OCR and IDP? OCR primarily focus on the text recognition, whereas IDP like it use the technology called OCR as well as like EIML model. So it do the text recognition, then also it understand and extract the data into the structure format, right? So technology it use basic recognition pattern. So there are some predefined pattern. It use that, right? But here IDP use some kind of AI and ML large language model or pre-trained model, to extract the information. So the application like OCR is just suitable for like text conversion tasks, whereas like IDP can be used for the complex document processing, and even it can be used for the automation purpose, right? So that is what's the key difference between OCR and the IDP. So what are the benefits of the IDP? So So as I mentioned, like, it will definitely improve the overall productivity. It will reduce the cost and the time. So, like, you can scan the sometimes you can scan the or extract the information from the documentation within the second, and you can send it to the any other system, right, within the seconds, right? So those kind of things can be done with IDP. It can, like as I mentioned, you can completely automate the document scan and extracting and retrieving the information from document, and storing the information into any third party system or any databases or any other storage, whatever, like, want to perform and accelerate. So time to market, it's where, as I mentioned, IDP is very easy to use, right? You can build a solution very quickly, right? So the overall time to market, you can reduce the time to market. Basically, we will going to see like how easily we can extract the information, with IDP. Okay, so these are the some document types supported. So invoice and purchase order, we have a predefined schema, we have a predefined template, and like we have it also support other generic document which which I will going to show in your in the today's demo. For example, medical report, patient registration form, identity document, other. Okay. Then what are the document formats? Support JPEG, PNG, and the PDF, and it also support few languages: English, German, and the Spanish. They are trying to extend all these things, but yeah, right. We don't know what's the deadline, but yeah, right now these are the things supported. And as I mentioned, like, what are the various use cases? So in financial, like, it can be used for loan document processing, any contract or any management documentation. For healthcare, like, it can have a, like, scan any patient information form or any medical reports or any prior authorization process. In insurance claim processing, it can be used in education and the government. Then horizontal use cases can be like invoice processing, purchase order. So it's like we have already predefined set of schemas and predefined set of templates for invoice processing and the purchase order. Then it can be used for other legal documentation, signature verification. So also there are some documentation, right? So where you want to make sure the signature has been done. If the signature has been done, then the document should be moved to the next step. So where IDP can tell you like whether the signature is available on the documentation or not. So those kind of things can be done with the IDP. Okay, as I mentioned, the accepted file format: PDF, PNG, and JPG. File size limit: if you are uploading via API, so 10 files per upload. Okay, so you can have a 10 files per upload, then 50 pages per file, and 8 MB per file. Whereas, like, upload via API, so we have a API call. You can do also API call. There is no limit on the number of files per upload. 50 pages per file, it's okay. Then 10 MB per file. Prompt limit: 30 per document action. So you can give a 30 prompt per document. Prompt response limit, it will be 128 character. And the languages: English, Spanish, German. Additional languages are not fully supported. And polling limit is 10 seconds interval for retrieving the result. Application must avoid the polling for result more often than every 10 seconds. So these are the some quotas and the limit, right? So if you are uploading via UI, you can upload 10 document at a time, and whereas uploading via API, you don't have a limit. This is very important. And also prompt limit and the prompt response limit, this is also one of the important thing. Yeah. Okay. So now what happens? So whatever document you scan, so they get stored in the S3 storage basically. So these are the support region which is closest to your anypoint platform controller. It will ensure all the compliance with GDPR, right? If anypoint control is in EU, the data will be stored in the Frankfurt data center. So it doesn't mean so what your data will be visible to other vendor or other customer. It will be not. Your data will be secure on the S3 storage, right? And there is a retention policy for same. So here are temporary stored modified files during the testing process. Automatically remove the file. So whatever file you are uploading for the testing purpose, right? So those file will be automatically removed as soon as you complete your testing or you are come out of that particular web page, right? So file stored in the S3 bucket, and data is securely stored during the execution, right? So whatever the data you have used for execution, that's stored on the S3 storage. Retain data for 7 days. So whatever data is successful, right, they will just store for the 7 days on the S3 bucket, right? Correct. So and it will remove after 7 days, right? For execution requiring human review data, as I mentioned, if the confidence interval is not matching the threshold, right? In this case, the document, whatever data extract by the IDP, it goes for the human review. Basically, you have to go and review that document whether the information extracted is properly or not, right? So for such incomplete tasks, the data is no like data is written for the 7 days after, and for after 7 days, right? So data is even for after the task completion, basically. So it will be waiting, and data is written for the 7 day after task completion, basically. Retain incomplete task for the 60 days. So for example, if you are not reviewing document, you are not going to approve it, it will be there for 60 days. Retention period cannot be configured by the user. We are not allowed to configure any. It is the policy provided by the MuleSoft. I'm not sure whether we can increase that limit by reaching MuleSoft. I'm not sure about that, but I think there should be some provision, like where we can increase the limit. We have seen that. Okay, I'm going back. So I will not just go to document action, as I mentioned. So document action, where like you can go and start scanning your document, right? You can start extracting the information from your document. There are predefined schema, right? So for example, if you are scanning the invoice, so like invoice, so it will scan the invoice, it will extract the data, and it will map against the predefined fields provided by the template, right? And the final output, which document action will provide, that will be in the JSON format. So you can do the API call, and you can get the output in the JSON format, basically. Correct. So we will going to see this everything in the demonstration, so that will be more better. Okay, so let me walk you through the MuleSoft IntelliJ document processing interface. Any question? Okay, so I will quickly walk through. So here, if you see, you have to log into the Anypoint platform. So intelligent document processing is integrated with your Anypoint platform. So you click on intelligent document processing. So here you can see home. So and here you can see the document actions, right? And whatever the task coming for review, right? So here you can see those tasks, and you can come and approve it. Okay. So here from home, we have this create button. So using this create new, you can create a new document actions, basically, right? And once you create a new document action, you can have some sample invoice to do the testing, right? And if you are satisfied with the testing, you can just publish document action to the Anypoint exchange. As soon as you publish the document action to the Anypoint exchange, you will see the API, which can be used to send the document to the IDP and to get the result back. Then also you have a get API, which will provide the state of the document which you have uploaded to the IDP. Correct. So this is what the first thing what we have to do. We will go to the access management. You make sure you have that particular, you have access to access this IDP document action. I will show you. So let me see, where is my access management? Yeah. So in access management, let me open my user. Okay, so you can say add permission. Under add permission, you will see document action. Make sure, you have at least execute, publish, execution access, right? In my case, I will select both, right? I will select my organization name, then I will say add permission. Okay, so you need to do that. Make sure you have this permission to access the IDP, right? Any question on this? So we have done the first demo where we have done the walkthrough of the IDP interface. The second, we will start processing the invoice. Okay, so for that we will create a document action. I will create on new. So here you can see there's a predefined fields for invoice, right? So invoice date, invoice number, purchase order number, uh, payment terms, amount. There are many, and this table is nothing line item, right? So you in invoice you can have a multiple line items, right? So that will be mapped to do those things, and also there's a field for signature. Then we have a predefined schema or predefined template for purchase order. In case if you don't have a schema, you can go to generic and you can create, for example, if you want to scan the driver license or whatever, right? So we can go to the generic part. We will see the invoice and generic one. So I will create an invoice. So I will say invoice. I will give the name. I will provide a description, invoice document processing. I will say create. So now it has already created, and here you can see there are 51 fields, and there's a table which we have seen, right? So there's no value, and apart from that, here you can write your prompts. Okay, we are going to see all these three things. The first thing, we have to configure. We have already configured. Then we have to publish it. We will going to publish it, and then we have to automate. We can integrate it basically. I will select the file. I have some invoice file. Let me show first the invoice file. I have this sample invoice. So like these are invoice number and whatever, right? So this is just a sample invoice. So it has a one line item like price, total. It has some payment conditions also. Correct. So this is the sample invoice. I will going to upload it. So I will just say select file.
So here fields is nothing but actions, Jitendra.
No, see, this whole thing is the action, right? Field it, like, what it will does. So we have some predefined schema. So now what it will do, it will extract the information. So for example, the invoice contain text, so that value will be mapped against the text. The invoice contain total, that value will be mapped against the total.
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay. So let me go invoice 2 and let me run this. Let's see what happens. Okay, it extract the information. Let's see. So the first value, say signature not found. Let me open. There is a signature. I don't think any signature available, right? So it's saying not found. We can just hide this. We don't want tax is $8.50. So let it check the invoice. So we have a tax $8.50, right? So it has extract the information and map to tax. Email, there's a no email, it's not found. Then like total, it's 93.50. So 93.50. Also you can see like it, you can click on this particular field. It will say the confidence level is 99.99, and the threshold is 80%. So it has been passed, right? So what confidence level is, say what does confidence level mean, or confidence threshold mean? So it means the large language model is like 99.99% confident that particular value which large language model has extract from the invoice is correctly mapped, and it's a correct value basically, right? It's 99.99%. Correct. So that is what. And even like you can click on required. What does this mean, right? So for example, like required means, for example, if that text is not available and you mark this as a required, right? So whenever you will do the document IDB processing, it will go for the manual review basically. And in case if the threshold is not matching 80%, right, then the task will go for the manual review, right? We will going to see that demo. So here this field is not required. Then we have a due date. So if you click on this here, right, it will just highlight these fields also. You can see due date, those kind of fields are getting highlighted also. Then like parties country is not found, parties dot buyer dot header, test business. It extract all this information also. Now we'll go to table. So in table also it extract the information. So for example, okay, I'm wrong, but just a minute. Table opens here. Basically there's a one line item. So it's showing price $85. It's 100% confident this value is correct. Then quantity one, it's 99.98% confident. Then like unit price is $85, and description is web design, and the product code is 9. There's a no product code, right? And yeah, so that's what. Let's see, verify with the documentation. So we have a service, there's a no product code, right? We have a rate price, correct, adjust, and we have a quantity, and we have subtotal, right? So it automatically extract all this information. Right now what I will do, I will ask some prompts here. So I can add more fields here, right? So where I will see, I will say signature verification, or signature. I will just say signature. uh, I will just say signature. See, does invoice have signature, right? So I want threshold 80%. I require this, or I will just mark not as required, or I will mark this as a required. Okay, update. Now I will add one more field. uh, Total tax. See, what is the total tax on invoice. I will require this. Now the good, I will ask one more question. Payment terms, conditions. What are the payment terms and conditions? I will mark this as required. Edit. I'm just adding the three prompt. Let me run this. Okay, so now it came up with some wrong information. Does invoice as a signature, right? So sometime it can happen, right? So actually the invoice doesn't have a signature, right? It came, right? So I want to show this. Now what is the total tax on invoice? 73 per 73, right? So it again 73% with dollar 8.50, which is correct. Okay, and what is the payment terms and condition? So late payment is subject to fees of 5% per month. It's a 38% confidence, right? So these are the fields, like, what it will goes into the manual approval basically, correct? Let me check. Okay, so what will happen, so this particular thing will get into the manual approval basically, correct? I have one more invoice, so let me run this invoice. Okay, so I will be running this. So let me open that invoice. So this invoice, it's a very simple, like it have a 3 line item. Yeah, so I will just showing that invoice. Okay, so where is this invoice? So let's see what information got. So here, what is the total tax? It's a not found. It's correct, because we don't have a total tax available in this particular invoice, right? Then, like, does invoice have a signature, right? So that information is again incorrect. Let me check here. Okay, now I want to show you a table. So here we have a 3 line items, so it has been properly mapped here. So this is a 1200, like, description. It also map the product code, right? And it also have a purchase order or those things, right? So we can see that. So we can add this prompt also here, correct? And here we have seen the table, right? The table is mapping all the proper line items and everything, right? Now what the next step? The next step is to publish. I have one more invoice. Let's see, we can scan that. Let's run that invoice. So these 3 invoices are in different format, right? But we still getting more correct values for except, like, one of the thing. So I will open that particular invoice. Where it is gone? Where it is gone? So this is the invoice. This is, see, for the first 2 invoice which I've loaded, it's in the PDF format. Now I upload it in the PNG format. So this is one of the invoice basically. So let me go to that. So it, like, if you see, this is the third invoice. So here you can see all the price is mapped properly, 9.9 and 97.5 and 99, right? Yeah, 297 1950 and amount, right? The total amount is mapped properly. Then, like, you can see the quantity 1, 2 and 3. It is giving the confidence level also. Then same thing with the unit price, then description, product code, all those things. Let's see my prompts. So prompt now, it's like, is 99% confident it have a signature. What is the total tax on invoice? So it doesn't have any tax, right? So it have a tax, some kind of GST, right? So it's not able to recognize. So what I can do, I can add one more field. So GST is different and tax like it's be different, but it should give what is GST on invoice. Okay, I have to write GST. Okay, let me run it again. So now it gave the GST percentage, right? So which is 12%, right? So that you can see, now I can add one more prompt. What is G okay, GST amount What is GST amount on invoice? Let's see whether it's give a proper value or not. Let's see, run it. See, again it gave the wrong, right? It's 12% is not correct. So right, so sometime it can happen because the where the GST is placed, like it was thinking like GST is like 12% only, right? Which is sometime it can happen. So but still it's giving confidence level 94%. So it can happen, right? So there are some field like where we can't get a correct value. So that is what happening here, correct? Now let me select one more file, run it. So this is the fourth file. So let's see what's prompt say. So payment is due within 15 days. It extracted properly. Again, the GST is the problem, right? So it also depend on the like prompt also, how correctly prompt you are giving. But this is the right prompt also, correct? Then like payment within confidence. What is the total tax? There's a no tax. There's a GST only. Does invoice have a signature? Invoice have a signature? Yes. So it's 91%, right? So that is what you have to do. Now what I will do, I will publish this into AnyPoint Exchange and we will use the REST API to use it, right? So I will just save and publish. Okay, close. Let me check the fields. See, it extract all the information properly, all the addresses and everything, right? The text, see here it gave the proper text, see 1469. So it's like I'm doing some mistake with the prompt, so you may have to learn how to give a prompt. But here you can see, right, it extract the proper value on the text 1469.52, right? So if you give the proper prompt, right, it will extract the proper. So for predefined field, it has able to extract the proper text value also. So it depend on the I'm not a prompt expert, but if you know how to do the prompt, how to give a right prompt, so you can extract the right value. So here you can see it for predefined field, it has extract the text correctly. Okay, so now we have published to the AnyPoint Exchange. Let me duplicate this window and I will go to Exchange. I will duplicate this window again. So here you can see like what happened. Here you can see intelligent document processing, right? So here it has given you two endpoint, post and the get. So this is the URL, right? And this is for the get URL, right? What happens? So uh, once you post the request, right? So it will return you execution ID. So you can use that execution ID in the get to get the status of your document. Okay, we will work on that. Before that, I have to create a connected app. For accessing the API, you need to create a connected app. Let me go to access management. Right, I will go to connected app. I will just say IDP app, and it is for invoice, or I will say invoice IDP app. Okay, I will use client credentials. I will say add scope. So again, for adding scope, go to document action, execute publish action. So that is what you can do, right? That scope you need to provide. Next, I will select organization, say add scope. I will say save. Then I got this client ID and the client secret. Okay, back. So I can copy my client ID and the client secret. I will copy this, right? So let me copy and paste it here. Client ID, client secret. So I will use the CE URL for this. So what we are doing, so first we need to generate the token. For generating token MuleSoft, right? This is the standard URL for all the components. Like whatever components you are using, or for whatever component you need to generate a token, this is the standard URL. So I have to pass a client ID and the client secret. Let me copy this client. So what I'm saying, C URL post a content type application JSON, grant type equals to client credential. I'm providing a client ID. I'm just replacing a client ID. Then I will replace a client secret. Okay, so where it is client secret here, I will copy this command. I will go to git base. I will maximize it, paste this command, enter. I got the token. I will copy this token. I paste it somewhere here. So now next URL, I have to post a documentation. What documentation I have to post it? I will say invoice. Okay, and I need to get the URL. The first I have to provide the token. So I will just make this A as a capital authorization, bearer, and whatever token is generated in the first step, I will provide that. Now I need to get a post URL, right? So from where I can get it? From Exchange. Okay, go to Exchange. You may have a post URL. This one. Copy this URL. You can do it from Postman also, and you can do it from CURL. I will control V, right? This is the URI provided. Now make sure like you have to execute this particular command where your invoice is located. Okay, so I will just uh, copy this command. I will go to that path. Okay, so I have just where I went to that particular path and just paste it. Now I will go to this particular URL again. I need to check few things. This is invoice -1 PDF. Okay, I will copy this command. Okay, okay, and I will run it here. Paste it. Okay, so I got this execution ID back. Correct. So the document has been uploaded, like and like I got this execution ID back. So now we want to get the execution ID. So I will use this. I want to get the JSON format response, right? I will use this URL. This URL. Okay, I have this C URL like bearer token, and this particular URL I have to provide it. I'll just paste it. Need to give a execution ID. I can copy the execution ID from my response. Paste it. Okay, then I have to change this bearer token, right? So which we have generated in the last step, right? You can use the same bearer token because it's valid for 1 hour. Okay, I use same token. I will just copy this command. I will execute this. We get the response. Let's analyze the response. I will copy this. I will open the Postman, and this is one of the uh, good idea to I will just beautify it. See, we got the manual validation required. What does this mean? Some of the field haven't matched the threshold of the 80%, right? Then we get all the fields: invoice date, invoice number, purchase payment terms, amount due, due date, so tax, total, all these parties, vendor address, buyer, table, all the tables, line items. Then the prompt response basically, right? No, all the prompt response basically. So let's go to your IDP and let's see what's the problem. I go to review task. So it created a review task for invoice. So it's saying not found. You can enter it manually, right? So if you want to enter it manually, you can do it. And I don't know, I will say 0. And even I don't want to do anything. Payment terms and condition. If you want to put payment terms and condition, no. If you want to put it, you can put it. If you don't want to, just say submit and done. Now let's refresh this. There's a no task. Let's execute the request again. Let's copy this response. now it should show status as succeeded. Now it succeeded, right? Because we have done we have already update, we have ensured that this fields is okay not to have those fields. I just submit and the done, right? Let me do one more thing. Let me go back to document action, invoice, right? I will go to edit. Okay, you can add the reviewer. Who want to do the reviewer? Here I want to do reviewer myself only, Jitendra. I will, okay, add it, save it. So here you can add the reviewer also, right? So that is what you can do. I will remove all this prompt for now. I don't want it because I'm getting all the correct information there only. I will just save it. I will publish it again. Publish. And if you see, the response contain all the required information, and even it contain the line item informations also. And if there's any prompt, right, so it also say like, no, this prompt have some information, some issues or something like that, because, right, so those kind of information it will be there. So let me wait whether it's publishing. Now 1.1, it's 1.1.0. Okay, so now your API URL will be changed. So as I done some changes in the prompt, it will be 1.1.0. So let me go to 1.1.0, 1.1.0. So instead of invoice one PDF, let me go with the two PDF. The first, or yeah, let me go with two only. So I'll go with two. And the first thing, I don't want to generate the token again. There's a no need, because I can, that token is valid for 1 hour. So just I change 1.1.0 in invoice. It will give me the execution ID. I can copy this. I can go to get URL. I can change this. Okay, again I have to do one change. 1.10 I've done. Copy this. So now this document also have some problem. It's good, right? So let me go to Postman. So this document provide all the required information. It require manual validation. So why it's required manual validation? Let's go and see. Review task. So it have some doubt with this particular, because the we are expecting 80%, but the confidence level is 64.70, right? So it have down. So from my perspective, this is correct, right? So I will just say submit and done. Okay, next time when I will execute, I will get the success response. Okay, so you can see I will show it here only, a succeeded, right? Okay, so I want to do one more thing. Let's try with invoice one again. Copy this execution ID. Something is gone wrong.
I think you copied double quotes as well, the execution ID.
Oh, yeah, correct. Thanks. See, this invoice succeeded. We don't require a manual because all the fields are like, have a threshold of 80%, right? This is succeeded at a 5 step itself, right? So that is what like you can do. So like in case that like you can also say my like for all the fields should be 100% matching, all the fields should be 90% matching, you can define that threshold. And for some field you can say 70%, for some field you can say 90%, for some field, like for total, right, you have to make sure like it can be 100%, right, or 95% threshold. So for different field you can have a different threshold also. And I will for example, like we can also say required field is missing, right? If you check on the required field and that field is not coming, then it will again go into the manual validation. Okay, so now we have seen the invoice, we will see the generic one. So how to use the generic document processing. So I have a few templates. This is some driver license, right? I want to extract the information from the driver license, right? So I will going to see how we can do that. And then I want to extract the information from this healthcare medical certificate of the patient. I will do that. Any question?
So once we upload the document to IDP, is there any ETA, like when exactly the document processing will be completed if it is a large document?
There like it's allow only 50 pages, right? It doesn't allow more than 50 pages. It happened within 2-3 minutes, right? So it doesn't allow more than 50 pages in one document. That's the one thing, right? We have seen the quotes, right, quotas. So
Okay.
with 50-page document, it happened within like 2-3 minutes basically, even less than that.
Okay. And also for reviewing the task, right? Is there any option to configure the email alerts so that whenever your review is required, so that the respective
That
person.
you can write. I don't think I am not sure about that. I don't think we can do it there. But what you can do, like, so generally this particular solution will be automated. You have, for example, your MuleSoft integration, right? So when, for example, I'm just giving MuleSoft, it can be MuleSoft Composer, it can be RPA. So whenever like you send a document, you get the response back. So whenever you see that status equals to validation required, right, you can own generate, you can have a logic where you can generate the email. Correct? That is the one approach, but I'm not
Yeah.
sure whether it can be configured from the IDP. I haven't seen that. Okay, but from the automation perspective, as I mentioned, if you are using integration, right, so in integration you send the PDF documentation to the IDP, you got the response back, and the response you are saying there is a need of validation required, right, validation needed. In that case you can generate the
Yeah,
email,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Explicitly, we can. I mean, we can send a notification. I'm asking, is there any inbuilt option here?
Yeah, in the option, I don't see, like, I
Okay.
got it, it's there. It's there. See, I got it, right? So some of your API failed, governance rule set, not governance rule set. Yeah, I think
This is not from IDP, I think
no,
so.
no, this is not for IDP. Okay, I don't think we get the email. I'm not sure about that, right? But I haven't read. Abhishek, like, you work on IDP. Does the do we have a capability of configuring the email? I don't see, right? I don't think so.
Jackie Abhishek left. He
Okay.
dropped.
Yeah, I'm like sure about that. Like currently we don't have that. Okay.
Sure, that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. See, we don't have that. You can just configure the reviewer basically, and correct. So, but from, yeah,
But
we just
Jitendra here actually the manual intervention is required for review the task every file because
but not
in the
for every
day.
file, right? Not for every file. Here I intentionally have a file which have a, like,
Right,
low confidence level and all this thing, right?
right. I can see in your invoice very clean in all character are the field is written very clearly, right?
Yeah.
What about those who is returning the manual actually? Suppose your service engineer is going to the home for AC repair, right? He will create invoice over there. He will write the manual amount and everything.
It's
What
up.
will be the
Like,
cost,
see, I,
right?
I haven't tried with manual, but it support the manual return
So
invoices
your
also.
confidence level will be then
Bit less,
will
right?
not,
Right.
yes.
Correct.
So that we are going to avoid this one here, you know,
Correct.
right? So you have tried with that one manual
No, no, I
invoice or
haven't tried with
any service
manual yet.
report, any kind of reports.
I haven't tried with manual, but it support manual return document also. It
Yeah.
support that. But yeah,
Mhm.
you are correct. The confidence interval might be bit below, right?
Mhm.
As compared to system generated invoices.
Yes,
Correct.
yes.
But I haven't tried. But let me try. For next session, we can have some like handwritten invoices and we can try it.
So it is the final IDP that MuleSoft is producing. I can
No,
see it as
they,
a enterprise. Sorry, version are going to be the update something in future.
it will keep on updating, right? So
Okay.
it will keep on upgrading, it will keep on enhancing, right? This is
Okay.
like currently this is GA version. As I mentioned, like it support few languages for now, it support
Hmm.
few format. Going forward, you can see the quota will also increase. It starts supporting more format. It starts supporting more capabilities, like email capabilities, like generating, like if the review is there, right, is there
Hmm.
any issue, it can generate the emails also. Those kind of things there will be definitely, like, so if we can see there are a lot of changes happening, like, every time, like, it will definitely going to happen. Okay, chalo fine. Like I will go to another task, create new. This time I have to scan the driver license. I don't have any like, I don't have a schema, I don't have a template, I don't have anything for that, right? So what I will do, driver license scanning. Okay, or I will say scanning processing. That looks better. Create. Right, I have to select the file. I will select this file. But now we don't have a schemes here. We don't have a template here. I will first add the reviewer. I will just say I add the reviewer. Now I will start adding the fields. The first field, I want mm, license number. What is driver license number? I say required, add. Now I want,
Issued an expiry date.
yeah,
Issued an expiry date.
yeah, I will show, yeah. What is class of license? Here it's a field name. Issue date. What is driver? What is license issue date?
Can we give a prompt like whether photo is present in the driving license or not?
Yeah. What is, let's run it. Let's see. I will put the photo one also. Okay. So just I'm running it. So okay. So here I got a driver license number 98% with the confidence. Driver class D, driver license issue date, which is like, which is also correct. Then like driver expiry date. where the license belongs to. This is the California. What is the address on the license? It not able to extract it. And let me change this prompt. What is the name of the driver, right? Einstein the genius. So that has been also extract properly, but it thinks like it's a 67%, right? So the confidence level is 67%. uh, Let me run it again. So Einstein is doing some experiment. So this time it extracts. See, sometime I told you, right? Prompt is also important. What prompt you are giving, basically, that also matters, correct? So here I gave the prompt. What is the driver license number? What is the class of license? What is the license issued at? You get. Now I will add some more prompt. I will say, what is the? I will just say gender. What is the gender of driver? Edit. Add new. What is the height of driver? Does license have photo? Run this again. Okay, we got all this information. We got the correct gender, we got the height of driver. It's saying driver does license have photo. It's saying not found. So I don't think there's a photo. It should consider this a photo or not, I don't know. But yeah, but this is the, it the let me change the prompt. Let's see. Any prompt, anybody want to change this prompt to get the better prompt?
Does license have driver
Maybe
photo?
pictures, not the driver's picture.
Yeah, driver picture maybe.
Yeah, now got it. Yes, right. So
Indeed.
it make lot of difference with your prompt also, right? So like there's a separate topic or separate course for the prompt engineering, right? So prompt is also very important, so but I think like we got almost all the information correct. But here, you can see at 29%, he is not sure like whether this is picture or not, right? He is not that particular sure also about that. Now what we will do, we will publish this. Close, go to exchange. So okay, it also publish the connector which you can use in any point platform. I'll copy this URL. The URL will change. The action ID will get changed, right? I don't have to copy the whole URL. Only if I can copy the action, it should do my job. Copy this. What happened? This will be 1.0.0. Again, action 1.0.0. Now the file name I have to change it. Let me copy the file name and let me check the what PNG. Okay, great. So here I will just paste this and I will just say P. ng. Copy this, run this, let's see whether it works. Document action id not found, something is copied wrong. Okay, better to copy the full url. Okay, we got the id back. Let me copy the get url because change. I just have to change the execution id. So we got the execution id when we post the documentation. Copy this. I will change this execution id and let me go back. Clear. Paste it. It will definitely require a manual, like manual validation required. Let me copy this. So here you can see like whatever prompt we gave, we got the answers for all these things. And if you want to extract it, right, these are the fields name, expiry date, dot prompt, dot answer, dot value in the data view, right? If you want to add, like, if you want to extract the address, you can just say payload dot address dot answer dot value like that, so license number, issue date, license, like, all these things. So, but it required a manual validation. Let's see why it required the manual validation. Review task. So it's feeling like prompt.photo, it's correct information. Einstein.genius, this is also correct information. Submit and done. If you post it now, it should be succeed. So you can see the succeeded, right? Any question on this? Let me see if any other demo is remaining. Yeah, we have seen the generic also, how to use the generic documentation. Yeah. Any other question? I think I've just shown like all these capabilities what we have. Uh, so now other I want to do one. It's the same thing, like, it's the same, like, again I want to scan this particular documentation, right? It's again like you will just say what is the patient name, what is date of birth, what is case number. Like you can just use this particular documentation and get all this information, right? So this is again healthcare provider. It's the same way, right? So you create a new action, right, for this. Yeah. Yeah. Any other question before we? I think I have done with the session, right? And just if you have any question, like it's still like it's new, right? So it is evolving. So it, like, it may, like, we may have to see more use cases, like somebody raised about the handwriting documentation. We can have a session on one session on handwriting documentation. The what is the important takeaway from this session? The prompts are very important. So how you are giving the prompt, right? So that is very important. Like, so it's a way, like when you are communicating with other person, right, you need to think, when you are communicating with llm, you just think I'm just communicating with some other person. So to make sure, so that is how you can give the prompt. You need to understand, like, no, so prompt is very critical. Like what prompt you are giving, that's very important, right? So if llm doesn't understand, like, like what's a prompt, what is the correct prompt, if we are given some wrong prompt, right, so it will not able to understand. And they are using the natural language processing in the background for, for analyzing the prompts and getting the results, basically. Correct. So it using a lot of technology, as I discussed, like for prompt is using natural language processing. It using for the idp, it using ocr, it using like a pre-trained ai chat gpt's model and other models, like, for scanning and extracting the information from the documentation. Yeah. Any question? or like or do you want to discuss anything else?